Oftentimes people think of residents of California as uber libs that just want to talk sex with their kids all the time. But that's not the case. It's really not. At least not in Cupertino Union School District, where the board decided to do away with a comprehensive sex ed curriculum that the parents did not like because it actually talked about sex. So let me give you the details. More than 150 parents came out to a Cupertino Union School District board meeting earlier this week to protest a new sexual health education curriculum that would have defined anal, vaginal, and oral sex. As a result, the updated curriculum failed to pass the board. So a bunch of people signed a petition to do away with this curriculum, and it worked. And it's kind of incredible because it doesn't seem like the curriculum taught anything out of the ordinary, okay? It just taught the facts. So the data in it was explicit, one unknown parent writes. It was extremely provocative. It was written with too much suggestion. The entire approach was all about perform, not about inform. The entire assumption made by the curriculum that we reviewed was that all our children are already sexually active. Keep in mind, this would be taught to 7th graders, and I get it, 7th grade sounds really, really young, but what a lot of parents don't get is that a lot of 7th graders do start becoming sexually active. So you want to educate them as much as possible. Anyway.
You don't want to wait till after they're sexually active to educate them? I mean, let them fuck around for a while and then, right? You don't want to get out in front of that, right? You want to let them maybe make a few mistakes.
Yeah.
And
maybe life-altering mistakes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Correct them a little bit after that.
And this happened in Cupertino. I don't know if you know, is that the Cupertino where Apple is located?
Oh, yeah.
So these people are living in Silicon Valley and they're worried about a curriculum at a frickin' school about sex. I'm not worried about the internet. If your kid,
it's such a great point.
I mean, if your kid has a computer and a cell phone, it's all over already. So this might be some actually some intelligent, mature grown-ups who get to talk about this in the right way instead of what your kid gets all day, which is it being talked about in the wrong way, which is online.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm told living in Cupertino is in itself a form of abstinence. I just had to get that in there. I'm sorry.
So, you guys preemptively changed my mind. I was going to shock the world, and I was going to say, look, I partly get a parent's concern. Hey, listen, you want to show them how to put on a condom and make sure that they understand that you can get your penis can turn green if you get syphilis. So don't do that. Yada yada. But do we really have to get into anal and oral and and you can get a little squeamish, etc. Into anal, right? I got you. All right. Anyway, so
yes.
On the other hand, Jimmy makes a devastating point, which is who cares? The minute they're online, they can search donkey sex.
Yeah.
So then we're done with it, right? So you might as well at least say, hey, by the way, that donkey sex is not as safe as you think it is, okay?
Yeah.
And you might want to put on a condom. No, don't do it.
But parents,
No, because they have strong back legs.
That's true. That's another hazard.
the thing is,
Don't be a jackass.
I think parents are always going to believe what they want to believe, and these are the types of parents who don't want to believe that their kids are looking up questionable stuff on the internet, right? It's just
Not my kid. Not my kid wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
He's got some bad friends, but my kid wouldn't do that. My kid doesn't have a sex drive.
Do you guys remember? I mean, I don't know if we're too old now, and only a couple of us have kids in it, but do we forget how we were at 13 years old?
Right.
Like, it's not like the humans have changed so much that these parents who are however old they are from 30 to 50 years old don't remember when they were 13, 12 or 13 years old and the things they were thinking and wondering and curious about before they even had maybe their no sex ed and then had to figure this stuff out for themselves. So I don't know why the purity all of a sudden comes late in your life. At first you're like, oh, I'm gonna do all this, and then later you go, how dare they do these things that I totally did back then?
But it's
weird.
True.
How do you not remember who you
become
were?
a little more conservative as you get older, even if you're like a super liberal person. Like
I know, but look, but my experience in sex ed from back then kind of informs a little bit my opinion on it, because I'll make up the name, but it's pretty similar to her name. Miss Pomegranate taught us crazy stuff. So she was like, now, when all you boys are in a circle jerk.
What?
Like, wait, what?
And then as soon as you heard that, you proceeded to engage in a circle jerk, right?
Exactly. He
no,
didn't.
No, not at that moment.
You waited till you started
Until the bell rang.
No, I waited till I was done with school and went wrestling. So anyway, but I had never heard of a circle jerk. But by the way, though, I'm a grandpa. I grew up at a time where there was no internet, right? So, and we were in high school at that point. By high school, they're like, circle jerk, like whatever that is like so tame,
mild,
right?
so mild.
No donkeys involved, get out of here, right? But so I get that you gotta do it in 7th grade because that's when they're 13 and they hit puberty. That's when they're super curious and might begin to act upon those things and you've gotta educate them. But yeah, in the old days, sometimes they did go a little too much. That's why I was gonna have sympathy for the parents and you rein in the Miss Pomegranates a little bit about teaching the kids about the circle jerks, and what does that have to do with safety, right? It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Because what are you? Again, I know your opinion has shifted a bit, but is it because you think it will influence them to then try it? Because that's what a lot of times the conservative argument is. Well, my little Johnny would have never done that until he was given all these ideas, and now he's just effing everybody.
Well, so I'm mixed on that because. And another post game, tytnetwork.com/join to become a member and get all the post games. Anyway, I had talked about the first time that anybody had ever told me about how 2 males have sex, or one of the ways. Right? And I remember being like, what is this? I never even thought about it. I think I was as old as 15 at the time. And like it blew me away. So now to JR's point, that didn't make me go, oh, now I see what I could do, right? But for some folks, it will make them think that, but at the same time, they were likely to become gay anyway. They were already gay, right? But of course, that will bother some parents. It will, and we have to keep it real about that.
Okay,
now,
so
that doesn't mean we should assuage them.
Here's what I believe should happen, okay? If you are a parent who doesn't want your child to learn about facts related to their bodies or their sexuality, that's fine. You can keep your child ignorant, but just abstain, have your child abstain from that class, right? You can do that because look, here's what happens. When it comes to sex ed, parents have to sign a form indicating that you're okay with your kid taking this class. If you're not okay, then don't have your kid take the class, but don't make all the other students suffer from being ignorant because you want to keep your kid ignorant. How about that?
Well, I'm willing to have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Well, there's nothing sexy, there's nothing inherently sexy about sex ed. If you think about the people who have to stand in front of the class, it's some volunteer who probably doubles as a lunch lady. He's got the big mole and they stand up there with the banana and they're doing the thing. It's not Jessica Alba reading 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing sexy about it.
That would be worth funding.
Yeah. They make it sound like a hot porn star is going up in front of the class to read Cosmo tips on how to make your man come. That's not what happens in sex ed.
Well,
right?
she talked about performance. If they are talking about how to give better performance, then yes, I would agree. That's a bit much, okay?
Yeah.
Just talking about keeping it safe, and then we've got a deal. And like Jimmy said, don't worry about what's going on in school. Worried about what's going on their phones and their laptops. Corporate media is awesome.
Wrong.
Independent media is the way to go.
Believe me, believe me.
Support independent media right now. Become a Young Turks member. tytnetwork.com/join.